You have to decide whether or not to keep the house that you've had probably for a long time. Do you cash out? Do you need to downsize? Do you need the money out of there? Most people feel like they want to stay in the house that they've had, and that could be a financial nightmare for them if they don't have enough money saved in all the other places to keep that, because the taxes have gone up and maintenance that they don't consider.
Long-term care. Most people will at some point need some kind of long-term care.
Most of the time, one of the two people, if you're married, could spend some time in a nursing home. And the numbers are that the average person is completely impoverished in about 2.5 years because of the costs of long-term care. So you need a plan.
Americans, gather around, for I have some very unwelcome news for some of you. No, check that. The numbers and the research tell us this will impact most of you. You won't be happy, you likely won't agree, and you may even be offended at first. But once you listen and absorb what we're about to discuss, you may use this jab as a positive. When it comes to money in your retirement, you, me, everybody is just about as dumb as dirt. No offense, but we're in some deep kimchi here. And what we do about that R word is the real point of contention. Welcome to MidPoint. The editor of Kiplinger's Retirement Report, Susan Garland, joins us. Susan, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Susan, I hated to put it that way in such a blunt way, but you're smiling because I'll bet you that that's really the way that sometimes you have to talk to people. We're just not that smart when it comes to figuring out what it's going to take to live for the rest of our lives, are we?
Exactly. I think a lot of people have their heads in the sand about retirement. I forget exactly what the numbers are, but significant amount of people in those pre-retirement years between 50 and 65 have less than between $50,000 and $100,000 saved. Now that may seem like a lot of money, but if we're talking about what they call the average or the rule of thumb withdrawal strategy at 4% a year, that's like $2,000 to $4,000 before taxes. So people are not really thinking this through, whether they're, at 50, 45, or, 20 in particular is when you should actually start saving for retirement.
Well, you do realize, of course, that probably most of us are already well past that point now. So,
Absolutely.
Okay, let's go ahead and take it then for granted. We're in trouble. Say it out loud. So let's just say for the people that are over 40 at this point, if you haven't figured it out, where do you start? I mean, it's not easy even to hold a job anymore these days.
Well, it is very tough, but let's just say let's just assume you have a job. Most people do. Start putting away money as soon as you can, and as much money as you can. There's a great, you have the 401k at most employers, and a lot of employers give an employer match, so they'll match up to 3 to 4% of what you put away, so that if you're not putting away that amount of money, that's money you're leaving on the table. That's free money. So at the very least, put away the employer match. With a 401k, you can put away $17,500 a year, an extra $5,500 if you are 50 and over. So let's just say you're 50 and over. I ran some numbers, and you put away, let's say, the $23,000 a year, starting at 50 till 65, you'll get $525,000 by the end of that period, based on I think it was a 4% rate of return that I figured in. So there's still time to do it. You just have to start thinking about what you're going to cut down your spending on frivolous things or unimportant things. And I know this is very hard for a lot of people who are in the middle age, who have kids in college. You think, oh, I will do the college now, I'll worry about my retirement later. That's not a way to go, because your kids could always take loans for college, and you can't take a loan for retirement. Sounds cruel, but those are the things you need to think about now.
Get out there and do it on your own, kid. That's almost like what it sounds like you're saying in some ways. You've just talked about somebody, though, who has the availability to get to a 401k. Not everybody has that. I mean, certainly there are those who are lucky. There are some people who say, some experts who say 401k, if you decide to fall back on that, then you're just as foolish, because that's not everything that you need. So address that, if you will, but also address the people who don't have the chance at a 401k. How are they supposed to make it happen?
Well, if you don't have a 401k, brokerage firms or banks and be able to sock away a fair amount of your self-employed income. If you don't have access to a 401k, you need to set up an IRA at a brokerage account or a bank. Unfortunately, you can only put away up to $5,500 a year, $65 if you're 50 and older. And let's just say you are employed and you have a 401k or you have a regular IRA if you don't have access. What you can do, you could set up something for your spouse called a spousal IRA, which means as long as you have income to finance this, you could put away up to $5,500 for your spouse or $6,500 for your spouse if he or she is 50 or older. So there are or just put money in to a taxable account. It's fine. You can do that, or you could put extra money into an IRA. You don't get a tax deduction, but you could still put some money away if you can. Just whatever you can do every month. Just you can have it automatic into a brokerage account. Just set up in an automatic withdrawal from your checking account. Have the money go into that. Another great deal is there are these target date retirement funds at brokerage accounts, which basically say I could put away a certain amount of money, and you don't have to worry about how to diversify and allocate, choose the investments. They'll do it for you, and as you get closer to retirement, they'll reduce the riskier stock allocation, boost the less risky bond allocation as time goes on. So just put a certain amount of money, $1,000 a month, $500, anything you put away, it compounds over time. Hopefully the market will still continue, of course, there are caveats, but the more money you put away, the more it compounds over time. That's really the biggest choice you have right now.
I only got about 15 seconds left. Maybe if you're going to give somebody a word of advice or a line of advice, it is stop buying the shiny things. Walk away from the shiny things.
The shiny things, and those I know, this little tiny thing like lattes, whatever. But anything that you don't need, go through your credit card bills, go through your checking account, look at, keep an account of what you spend every day, and see what you can get rid of, and just not spend that money, and just put it away in a little piggy bank, or a brokerage account is better.
Thankfully, I am not a latte guy. I feel so much better at this point. I've saved a couple of bucks along the way. Susan Garland, thank you so much for the advice. I certainly look forward to the next time we get to talk.
Well, thank you so much.
My pleasure. Next hour here on MidPoint, the vexing problem of finding and then dealing with homegrown terrorists who often are nothing like what you believe they are. After the break, telling it like it is.